I am 12, I am 3, I am 1. And I just want to just welcome everybody to my show today. And this show is going to be entitled 12 Dimensions or 12 Levels of Consciousness. Um, I was actually going through my phone and I was looking at a video by David A. David A. Roberts, and he was had a video, and it was dealing with 12 dimensions or 12 levels of consciousness. And I actually took some slides from him today and took some slides from his YouTube video. And I just wanted to expound on it because it just brought back a lot of some thoughts and, you know, levels of consciousness. It just dug some things up out of me that I wanted to share with everybody. And for those who are new to my show, I have, you know, a few different shows. I have a show that is called Power Walking Through the Neighborhood, where in the mornings I share my thoughts and teach different levels of things that comes to mind. I have this show where I run across different people's works and I expound and go further on their works as well as adding my own ideas and things like that. I have a few different other shows that's coming available with different sisters, and I have one that is called Thoughts Among Men, or Conversation amongst men, Discussion Amongst Men, I think is what we're going to name it, but we got that one started and it's recorded, so we have that out real soon. But so let's just go ahead and get to the information, and let's get to what this lesson is going to be about, and let's go ahead and start building and let's learning, because I'm here to motivate. I want to motivate everyone. Let's get us started. Let's get our bodies right. Let's get our minds right. And let's get our spirits right. We are trilateral beings just on this dimension of the third dimension, 3D, and that's what we want to talk about some today and just go through the understandings of that. But we actually are, I would say, in a 12-dimensional consciousness essence or being. But the possibilities probably even go beyond that. But let me just, that's what I know and understand and what I would like to convey and go over some proofs and just to get everybody's mind, body, soul, and emotions, you know, balanced, because that's what everything is about. Being neutral, being balanced, being in the middle, not being black, not being white, being gray. You know, right there in the middle, not being hot, not being cold, being warm, you know, not judging this, not judging that, but just being neutral, being self, you know, coming in alignment with self. Because we have so much about ourselves that we don't know. And that's what we're going to go over today, because when you are trying to become enlightened, awakened, ascending, rejuvenated, transmuted, you know, all these words that the alchemists use, the self is the most important thing, the consciousness, the awareness, because you are consciousness. We are consciousness, we are awareness, and so much more. We are not the body, but the body is important. Why? Because right now, I'm communicating and translating to you from this 3D physical plane called Earth. And you are receiving this transmission on a 3D plane called Earth. So we're grounded here right now, understanding this, but we're going to go over different levels of consciousness, different levels of being, different levels of ourself. So let's get started. We starting right here. We want to look at this diagram that I have up here. And this is an ancient diagram. I mean, if you can look at it, we're talking about Camelot and it's on here. We're looking at someone who has a crown, but it's also signifying more of back in the days and these days in medieval times, you know, you had castles, you know, and you had temples. So these symbologies or these places or these houses, they was built actually on the temple of the body, because the body is the first temple, is the first house, and is the most important house, because this is the house that we chose to come into physical reincarnation or carnation into. So we're going to talk about this body, and we're going to talk about 12 levels of the body, 12 systems of the body. We're going to go over 12 levels of consciousness, 12 levels of awareness. We're messing with this number 12. Didn't I not say I am 12? I am 3? And then we're going to bring it to I am 1, unity consciousness. All right? So let's get started. Right here we're looking at this diagram. And as I'm looking at this diagram, we're seeing so many different things. Today we're not going to go over all the metaphysical or the alchemical signs and symbols that is dealing with this, but just some basic things we see. We see this symbol right here has so many different meanings, so many different names. But I'm gonna say, some people say the Star of David. They call it the Megan Star. They call it the Merkaba or the Makarba. There's so many different names for this, but names are English. We're going on the inner. How do we feel about these symbols? So we see this symbol. This right here is a very powerful symbol, and you see this symbol sitting on the crown of his head. But what I really want to get to is not so much of the signs and symbols, because we can see some of the different signs of the chakras, coming on down the body. We see Pisces, the fish down here, that signifying the different zodiacal signs that is throughout the body. But also we can see different entities, different people, showing that there is different levels throughout the body, that there is different dimensions, there are different worlds. Your body is a universe. Let me say it again. Your body is a universe. Why? Because it contains different worlds. It contains different entities. Some of these entities and beings that we can even just look at in science and understand. It don't really take a lot of mysticism to understand that we have all kind of bacteria, pathogens, proteins. If you look at some of the videos of the animations of some of these things look no different than me and you. They have functions and jobs. They go out, they perform work. They synthesize and desynthesize. They create and do all kind of things. They live a life. They die. They recycle. They come back and reincarnate, do it all over again. Some of these things graduate to different levels of beings after they learn the lessons that they learn, the job that they have to do. Then they go to the next highest level, or they may have to learn that lesson over again, or they may even digress. As above, so below. So what we're going to get into is the microcosm and the microcosm, the macrocosm, and the microcosm, because we did not leave ourselves void of knowledge here. We did not leave ourselves where we didn't have a path back to our divinity, back to the oneness, back to the source of all that is awareness, consciousness. We did not forsake ourselves. But it takes effort. It takes getting out here and learning these things. The same way I have understood these things and started to experience these things, and now I know these things, it's the same way I'm going to help you all and mankind to know these things just as well. But it's going to take some willpower. It's going to take that center solplex, that chakra here, that degenerative principle. The generative principle is the divine feminine. Well, it even goes higher than divine. I would say the divine mother is where things are birthed from. And we're going to get into that more. But we just wanted to start off with this just to show you the different levels that the body contains, the different dimensions. And then we're going to go into some things and thoughts. And then I'm going to expound on some things that David A. Roberts came up with. And this is how we get this knowledge. See, the infinite, the all that is aware, a part of him being all that is aware is through his creation. It's through his creation that he knows all things. It's through his creation that it is everywhere and present at all times, in all places. Do you not get that? That it created images of itself? Individualized images of itself? So that it can experience infinity? And I'm going to show you how each thing follows the same order, the same pattern, that it duplicates itself, it rejuvenates itself, it divides and multiplies. But what are we having to do is an evolution to come back to an involution, to come back inward, because that's how the torus is built. That's how perpetual energy is built, in a cycle, flowing in and out, radiating. And we're going to go through this. So let's go to the next slide. Now, I want to just share this a little bit with you. This is coming from, these slides are coming from David A. Roberts' work, The 12 Dimensions of Consciousness and Beyond, from his book. I recommend that you go get his book, read his book. But I'm gonna expound on my ideas on some of the things that I got from his book that was spawned from my mind, and we're gonna tie it all together so that we can learn from one another. Because see, I'm learning from him, you're learning from me, and I learn from everybody. I don't discriminate. You know why? Because I know right from wrong. How do I know right from wrong? Because we all have a GPS. Where do you think this GPS concept's coming from? It comes from the GPS that we have. It's called our emotional body. Because our emotional body, when you feel good, when you hear information you take in or you have an experience and it makes you feel good, exuberant, gives you bliss. Bliss is an implosion of the DNA, an implosion of itself, serotonin, melatonin, and all these different chemicals that's coming and flooding into your body and giving you feeling sensations of good. And this shows you that this is in alignment with your higher self. But when you get thoughts and information and experiences that make you feel bad, makes you contract, make you go inward, then this is an indication that these things are not in alignment with you meeting with your soul, your higher self, your highest levels of consciousness that knows all things. Because your soul is a replica of all that it is, awareness. All that is awareness, all that is consciousness, the supreme, the source, the highest, the most high. Okay? So we're looking at now on this slide, we're looking at the 12 dimensions of consciousness. Now, why we choose this number 12?